the way that we relate to anything is the way that we relate with ourselves. And that's how we relate and communicate with the universe. Healing the relationship with yourself is the pathway. I think self-love is the pathway to living our purpose, living in abundance, earning money with something we truly enjoy, that's in our hearts, our passion, creating a life that just feels in alignment, having healthy, loving relationships that feel good to your body, to your nervous system, to your soul, that feel nourishing, that feel like you're free. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of On Purpose by Lynn. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Lynn and I share with you everything you need to know to become your best self, to live a life with purpose, joy, fulfillment, and expansive feelings. So if that's something that you resonate with, then make sure to subscribe. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the journey of finding balance within your relationships, which I think is huge on our spiritual journey for our lessons, for our spiritual growth. It's probably the journey of really starting to embody who you are, your authentic truth, and your divine life purpose. And I'll explain to you why. So if that's something that you would love to learn more about, then stay around. So what I've been experiencing on my healing journey, and like I've been sharing in the previous episodes, I've been going through a very deep healing journey. I recently started to upload these videos again. I used to do this for 2 years, 3 times a week. And then I took a pause to work on myself and to go deep within and to heal the relationship with myself and others. And ultimately, because I was healing the relationship with myself, I was healing the relationship with God, the universe, source, however you want to call it. And I'm going to go more in depth in a little bit. So that's just for those of you who are new here. For those of you who've been here, welcome back. What I said in the intro about healing the relationship or balancing the relationships with others as a path to becoming your authentic self and awakening to your truth, to who you are, your full potential. I do really believe that that's true. And one level deeper is because, one moment. There was just a plane passing by, making a lot of noise. But when you go a level deeper, when you look at, people talk about manifesting your soulmate or manifesting the love of your life, your twin flame. I think in a more practical way, just having great relationships that you enjoy, that even the ones that are challenging, this could be friends or family. Family is definitely, I believe, those are the people you chose before coming here to learn from the most, that would help you grow most on your spiritual evolution. And the reason why is because family often brings challenges, and challenges make us grow, right? Without negative, there is no positive. So we need to go through trials and challenges in order to grow and be free of those. So one level deeper of kind of balancing these energies around you, these relationships with your family and your friends, is actually going in and healing the relationship with yourself. And what I've learned from working with a coach. Her name is Susan Jane Rome, and I've learned so much from her. One of the things she told me on my journey was, and this was actually about my relationship with money, and I'm going to share with you why this is so relevant to this as well, is the way that we relate to anything is the way that we relate with ourselves. And that's how we relate and communicate with the universe. So the relationship that we have with ourselves is going to reflect in, I would say, almost everything that you experience in your life. Now, of course, there's always the mystery, right? There's always the mystery. There are multiple universal laws at play that cause things in our lives, right? I don't know about karma, soul contracts. Okay, I ran out of battery over there, but what I was saying was that there are multiple laws and things at play in our lives that we might not know about. So it's, there are nuances. It's not like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you cannot always blame yourself for certain situations in your life. For one, have compassion for yourself. Even if you blame yourself, have compassion for blaming yourself, okay? Because I think what I'm trying to say is that we are very powerful creators. We're extremely powerful creators, but there's always the mystery. So we want to stay open to that. We don't always know why certain things happen in our lives, and that's what we're here to learn, okay? So with that being said, I think my point is clear. Going back to our relationship with ourselves, it is a very crucial part of the way that we create our reality, okay? And when I started working with self-love, and the reason why I didn't want to name this video self-love is that because I've shared things about self-love and they tend to not perform very well, so I don't know why. It is one of the biggest things I feel in our spiritual journey in order to kind of grow and start experiencing life in more powerful, joyful, light ways, fun ways, expansive ways. But the journey of self-love is truly what's going to help you to find and connect with those who will treat you the same way. Because the way you treat yourself often is what you see reflected back in your relationships. Now, I think that this is completely normal. Like I said, don't blame yourself. It's okay. I've had to see and learn and grow through the pain and the wounds and the way that I was raised that made me believe certain things about myself, that made me show up in certain ways in relationships. And being more tangible is, unless our parents or our grandparents and generations before that have done the deep spiritual work to heal themselves and heal the relationship with themselves, most likely, if they don't, which I guess most people do, then what their children are going to learn from them is the way they treat themselves, right? And what they've learned. So most of us, I would say, haven't learned to fully love themselves. Like true self-love. We just haven't. And a practical way that this can show up is in pleasing others. And with pleasing others, I would say for me, that was a pattern of thinking that someone else was more important than I was, so that in return, prioritizing them, I could receive love. But this is something that Gabor Mate always says is, if you're working to be liked, you'll never be loved, or something along those lines. And the reason why is because if you're working to be liked for someone who you are not, so you're trying to fit yourself into a box for someone you are not, and for someone else, for them to like you, you're never going to be your authentic self. And when you're not your authentic self, meaning you're pretending to be someone else in order to please someone, and I'm talking from experience here, you're never going to feel loved because you're not showing up as who you are. So there's always this part of you, this is what Susan Jane Rome has taught me, there's always this part of you that knows, yeah, you're showing love to me, but I'm never going to feel it because part of me knows that I'm not being myself, and part of me knows that the love that I'm receiving, it's not truly for me. So it goes very deep into, healing these emotional wounds, these suppressed emotions, these truths about ourselves. It goes back to childhood. That's why I would recommend doing lots of inner child healing, working with a coach, doing something like that, because it's going to reveal to you why certain things aren't working out in your life or haven't been working out, or why things feel so hard or feel like, you've been trying so hard and it's not going the way you want it to go. And of course, there's always space for the universe. Like, the universe has a plan for us that we cannot foresee. We can only see a tiny vision, and that's kind of the direction that we know we should move into. But then we also leave space open for what that may look like. Maybe it will be even better than we have envisioned, right? So I would highly recommend that, because those patterns where we give parts of ourselves away, or where we suppress who we are really in order to be liked, fake loved for the approval, celebration of someone else. And it may come in a form of trying to work very hard. This is something that I did. Working so hard because I thought when I work hard, I get the appreciation. But if I don't, just being who I am is not good enough, right? And I think that not being good enough, not being loved, not belonging, is one of the deepest wounds that most of humanity has. The fear of not being enough, not being loved. And therefore, people always copy each other, right? People copy each other because it's safe. But in the end, it's not really, because you'll never feel truly safe within yourself unless you start healing the relationship with the real you. And start nurturing your needs. And when you start to see these patterns within yourself, and you can meet yourself with love and compassion, meaning that there's zero judgment. And even for the judgments that are coming up, right? Even if there's judgment, we have space and love for the judgments. Because those judgments are teaching us, or are showing us, that there is a little kid somewhere inside that wants to protect you from that danger, right? It's judging others so that it can feel better about itself. Or it's judging yourself because it's afraid that if you ignore this voice or this mechanism, you're going to go into certain ways where you'll get hurt again. And that's what that little kid inside doesn't want. It doesn't want you to get hurt again. So we need to start nurturing ourselves and start creating a space within ourselves where we can feel safe to be who we are, where we can start feeling safe to have our truth and to express that with the world, where we feel safe and loved by ourselves. And maybe you'll have someone where you can, rebuild a safe, sacred relationship with, where you can truly be that. so that you can be okay with not being liked or loved for someone that doesn't really fit you anyways. What I started to see is I'd rather be loved by people who see me for who I am than and being rejected by those who don't, than being loved for someone who I'm not and never be free to be fully who I am. I've started to see that this is costing me. It's costing me. It's costing me my truth. It's costing me my peace. It's costing me actually the blessings that I could have if I were to be myself. Like having loving relationship, real loving relationships, even if it's just a handful of people. Living in peace, knowing that I never sacrifice myself in order to be loved or liked by someone else. And so balancing the relationship with yourself, balancing the relationship with others is the path towards your higher truth and where you start to connecting more and deeper into your purpose. Because what I've noticed within this journey and what I've experienced is that once I start living in my truth, I suddenly start seeing the things that are not serving me, things that don't feel good to me or not in alignment, not authentic. And I started to receive the things that were truly meant for me. And that's the path, right? That's the path that we want to walk. And it's challenging and it's difficult and it's definitely something that needs practice and revisiting over and over again. Like I said, I've been on this journey now for a year and a half, and year and a half is short. It's relatively short because when you start clearing these deep wounds and the ways that you've been showing up for your entire life. Like I'm 30 now, I've had 30 years of living this way. We need time and the patience for us to create those new neural pathways, to feel safe being who we truly are, and grow into creating new habits and patterns that do serve us, that protect our sacred energy and that hold space for the reality we truly want to call in. So healing the relationship with yourself is the pathway. I think self-love is the pathway to living our purpose, living in abundance, earning money with something we truly enjoy, that's in our hearts, our passion, creating a life that just feels in alignment, having healthy, loving relationships that feel good to your body, to your nervous system, to your soul, that feel nourishing, that feel like you're free. And this is a deep topic that I'm going to share more about. I'm definitely not done sharing because there's just so much to be shared about this. And I'm excited to share more of my journey with you that has helped me to deepen the relationship with myself and the universe, and has given me more clarity on my path. Because I do believe that these tools and these insights are not just for me, they're for you, and they're for many of us. And when I mean of us, as in the people that are here to walk this specific path. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you have enjoyed watching this episode, please like this episode and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this in the future. Don't forget to ring that notification bell if you want to be updated and don't miss anything. And with that being said, I'm looking forward to see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm wishing you a blessed and beautiful day whenever you're finding this video and from wherever you're tuning into. Bye for now.